Did you say cooks or crooks?
Makes it difficult to have your vision come through unsullied. And so we knew right away this would be a show we would make on our own without input. And then the wonderful thing is when we joined up with the CW is we're like, okay, well now we're kind of in the mill. Their development process at CW is go make your show. We bought it because we like it.
Yeah,
which is
and
great.
then we invited them to a read-through for notes because we wanted to, because the worst thing is that you make it, right, and then you're done, and then they go, this isn't what we wanted. Can we fix this? And now you go into problems that you can't really fix, so they may just like not want it at all. So we wanted to get as much feedback as we could to make sure we were making something they liked. And after the read-through, they were like, we love it. There were no notes.
Yeah,
And it was really early in the morning, so it was more like, we love it. And I was like, okay, great. They're canceling us. Like, there's no way. Who says it? No notes? Yeah, just whatever, spend the money, and we're not going to do anything anyway. I was convinced that that was the way things were going to go.
But no, they really genuinely love it, which bodes well for the future. And yeah, Brad came from making YouTube videos, so this was a new world.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were saying it was sort of a way to make it outside of the system, but I think aside from that, it was sort of like, well, this is going to be the distribution format for television anyway. Like this is where everything is going. Again, it seemed like, what? People couldn't wrap their heads around it. And then 3 years later, Kevin Spacey's like, well, on our paradigm shift, House of Cards. And I'm like, oh, really, Kevin Spacey? So ahead of things.
We've only got 15 minutes, so let's
we
line up. We've got questions, but we wanted.
I just want to add one thing to that, especially if anybody here is an aspiring writer or showrunner. As a director, what Brad and Jane always said, what sets them apart is that the story defines how you create it, not the medium.
Right.
They never said like, oh, it's web, it's a television show, it's a show. So shoot it, tell it the way that it should be shot. It's not, because a lot of people say, oh, it's for the web, so you don't need to have depth, or you don't need to light it a certain way, or you don't need to do this. What sets Brad and Jane apart and husbands apart is that the story defines it. And I feel like that is one of their greatest things that I wish more people emulated, that I wish was a trait that was more common in the industry. And if anybody here is an aspiring writer or showrunner, it's definitely something to honor and to emulate.
Making an online show can be done fairly cheaply, certainly compared to broadcast television. And what you need is a thing you desperately want to say. What do you want to tell the world about how everyone should live their lives?
What's your agenda?
What's your agenda? Start with your agenda, and learn everything you can about writing, and just go out there and do it yourself. There's no secret formula to it, other than hire a good line producer. That is a good secret.
Yeah.
All right, first question.
I just want to say thank you real quick for your work. And these events are nice because we, on this side of the table, can say thank you for the work that you do. And I know it's hard for you to put this all together, but we appreciate every single minute of cleaning the windows. But a quick follow-up, because I was at a panel for looking at the movies, and you touched on this. As we've got two actors here, I'd love to ask you your thoughts on straight people being cast as gay. And what do you feel as actors? Are you like, that's great because as an actor I'm portraying somebody else and getting in somebody else's skin, or you're like, well, why aren't they casting a gay person? And when does that matter? When does that? Because you said this vehicle, you felt it was important to have.
Yeah. I did, because it hadn't been done in terms of, a gay television couple. Both of the actors have never been gay. One is gay, usually, so that they can say, well, one of them's gay. We're not using two straight people. That would be crazy. But then they can also say, well, there's nothing really going on between them, because one of them's straight. And I think it just comes down to the manner in which it's played. Jared Leto playing the trans character in Dallas Buyers Club. I didn't flinch or blink at that. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, like if he's a good actor and he can do it. There was a character recently, on Modern Family, was it Fred Armisen, who showed up and was like, oh my God, and I was just like, that's not the way you act. So like, what is informing that choice? Like, if you give me a real justified reason as to what is informing the choice other than, this is funny because I'm acting like this, then why do you need to affect your behavior to play gay? Yeah, it all comes down to how it's done. I mean, character Will Truman in Will and Grace, I think he's great. He's straight. Character Jack McFarlane, he's a caricature, he's a stereotype. I mean, he's great too, you know?
Yeah, no comment, that was great.
Yeah, when Brad talks, it's best to just go,
Well, no, the only thing I do want to add though is like, I feel like if it's like a gay character for like the first time that type of character is being portrayed, for the thing that comes to my mind is like, say there's like the first time there's a gay superhero, like in a feature film or something like that. It may be more important to consider having that being a gay actor, just to be considerate around that sort of thing. But I feel the same way about everything else Brad said about the actors, and it really does come down to the part. If it's political, I think it's something to absolutely consider.
Here's the other thing though, gay actors do not go out for gay roles.
Not true anymore.
I mean, okay, in my experience, anytime there's a gay role being cast, you only get straight men going out for it.
we had a very hard time casting Grady.
You guys cast me 4 years ago, not true anymore.
Mhm.
Nope, it's changing. It's changing. I'm competing against so many more people now. It's not.
Oh, that's interesting. But every time I sit down with these guys, stories, because they're so...
Bickering all the time?
Jason and Brady are so different, and Brad and Shelby are so different, and they're so funny, and I love these movies. We have another question?
Yes, hi. I'm an assistant director, and so I'm interested in your actual process of making a movie. What sort of budget do you work with? How has that changed since you got picked up at CW? How many things do you usually shoot? You shoot an arc all at once, if I'm correct,
Right.
as opposed to each
Yeah.
episode. So can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah.
And some actual numbers. would be
Sure.
great.
We've been each 22 to 24 minute episode has been a 4-day shoot, full long days. We hired an online producer, very first thing we did, and she would schedule the days. You know, we were reaching out to guest stars to find guest stars, but she was in contact with them to find out how to fit them into the schedule. We don't talk about the numbers, but you can, we raised $60,000 through the Kickstarter and made a season with that. The budget has gone up through the years, mostly because we're wanting to pay the people better than graham crackers. But it can be done, you could do it for that amount if you were really, using
Yeah.
a friend's apartment.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is that we work with the unions and, we have catering and like, we spend the minimum amount that you can spend to have everything done right. You know what I mean? To have everything you need and have everyone paid the amount they need to be paid. But you can do it for shoestring. You can do it, calling in favors and for people that want to work for pizza.
So how big is your?
Except, well, food is a key component.
Yeah,
The-
feed your people.
Their crews
Yeah.
and their
Yeah.
companies
Absolutely.
so well.
As a person.
And
it
feeding
matters.
people.
It
Our
matters.
crew, I mean, it is, you would not be able to tell the difference between this and any other television show. It's about a 40-person crew. We keep everything contained inside, so everything takes place in a house. All of our houses have been locations that we rented, usually get a deal on, because we know somebody or, and yeah, we do things as cost effectively as possible, block shooting. I mean, if you're an assistant director, then you know exactly how it is, and it's really not that different.
And we did that, the start of this last season, I asked the line producer, what's the one thing we don't have that would increase the quality of the show the most? And she said, professional post-sound house. And so we did that this last time. And so you figure out, you know from your experience, where to put that money to make the product look good. And just listen to your own experience. Because yeah, it's very much the same as making a short film or making broadcast TV.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love the nuts and bolts question. I wish we had more time to talk about it, but I think we got a lot of the basics out. Okay, thanks.
Thanks for having this panel. It's very important. Thanks for the show. How do you draw, when you do your jokes, and I'm sorry
We don't try to be comedy writers, we are.
Well, you're talking about like the joke, the process of how funny Cheeks is inherently. Like, how do we write something that seems to come just burst out of his soul? Oh, it's an illusion. We write it all. No, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we do write it all. There's no improv, it's all scripted. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, some of those issues are just so absurdly funny on their own that it's like, let's take that to an extreme conclusion, you know what I mean? And it's just right.
But things like, we knew we wanted to do, you know, funny physical comedy bits for the last one, and I kept saying like, maybe you should be struggling with folding a sheet, not with the corners popping off, and like trying to getting the sheet on the bed, because I feel like I've seen that before. I've seen it many times. Laverne and Shirley did it. Like trying to get a sheet on the bed is just so trite. Can't we find something else? And he was like, it'll be funny the way I do it. And it was. So there is something,
Because that's the challenge. Like, that's been done 30 times before. Let's find a way it hasn't been done. You know what I mean? Like, let's find that version.
yeah.
So yeah, there's that, and then sometimes just funny things pop into your head, or you hear people say things. My friend Gareth is here this weekend, and he has a stand-up act, and he's like, hey, will you let me know whenever I say anything funny? And I said, yes, you need to start with, hey, will you let me know whenever I say anything funny? You know, this moment.
And I think the secret to comedy writing that almost nobody knows, I think even comedy writers, is there is a way to say exactly what you want to say and have it be funny. You don't have to find the thing that's funny that says something close to what you want to say. Every joke can be written so specifically that it says what you want to say within a micromillimeter. So people don't have to bend their content around to hit the jokes. They have to write the best jokes that fit what they're trying to say. And I think that's a thing we've managed to do well so far.
So we have time for one more question.
Hi, I love the series, and I also love the comic. And I was just wondering, since the comic was it mixed like the fantasy aspects, and is that something that you wanted to do with the series and just weren't able to?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Brady wants to
That's a great question. What's the answer, guys? Like,
Well, interestingly enough,
let's go fantasy.
I mean, you know, we have a show that's based on reality, right? So like, unless we really jump the shark, or we do like an extended dream episode, or a whole season. What was that show where was that Dynasty or something? Or like one
Dallas.
season,
Yeah.
Dallas. I'm from Dallas. I should have known. Yeah, or he woke up. I'm like, oh, last season was a dream. However, so like, we're not going to do that. However, there is an interesting direction that we've been playing with going in the future that would find a practical way to bring elements of a world like that closer to their reality. And I know that's cryptic, but it's really all I can say.
Well, I love it both ways, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much. Everybody, big round of applause.